What is up, Flesh and Blood community? It's Sin here, and I kind of wanted to talk to you guys today about the concept of community. And this comes off like the tail end of the Pro Tour, where we have newer players kind of looking to take their first steps into Flesh and Blood. And you know, as you may know, I've been playing the game for about 6 to 7 months now. I'm kind of pseudo-sponsored by Green Tree Sports Cards. Not officially, but you know, they help me out from time to time. I help them out by providing exposure to their store here on the channel. I am also the kind of our tournament organizer for Heroes Inc. Comics in Robinson, Pennsylvania. And yeah, so like, you know, how do you like bring people into a community that's already well established? So I just wanted to kind of quickly share a story of something awesome that happened this past week at our Armory event at Heroes in Comics. So, you know, a couple days prior, we had received a message on the Discord from a former Magic player who wanted to kind of come in and learn how to play Flesh and Blood. And, you know, everybody in our well-established group, there's about 10 of us at this point, decided, yeah, come on in, bring it on. Let's, you know, like, we'll teach you how to play the game. Like, we were all so excited to, you know, have someone new come and join us, you know. And he came in and he was a little like uncertain at first. We showed him the game. I let him borrow my Dash deck for the week, or for the event. And, you know, we kind of did our normal armory. We did our Blitz armory. We taught him how to play. I showed up about an hour or two prior to our start time. And a couple of our guys typically come in early, so they were in the back, you know, playing a couple like games to, you know, get them acclimated with Flesh and Blood. And he ended up winning a game, I believe, a game or two. And it was great because, you know, we were all having fun, you know. And towards the end of the night, you know, we do our armory prizing, and this month was the May Anthology, obviously. And with the May Anthology, we received one. I think it was it's one of the light cards. It was one of the light cards. One of the Invigorating Light, I believe it was, and the other one was Shimmers of Silver. In our May Anthology kit. You know, so whoever placed first, they got their cold foil. Everybody got their rainbow foil, you know, promos, and the playmat ended up going to one of our more experienced players, who then turned around and said, "Hey, I think this should go to the new guy." And everybody in the room resoundingly said, "Yes, let's get awesome. Pass it off to the new guy, you know, and give him something to remember his first time playing Flesh and Blood by." And I think that's the core message I want to send with this video, is that if you're a member of if you're like the member of your local Flesh and Blood community, if you're a tournament organizer for your local Flesh and Blood community, the game will only survive and the game will only thrive off of positive energy of, you know, reinvesting and giving back into the community. You know, I understand stores, you know, they want to make money. They want to, you know, do this, do that. And it's a business. I can't blame that. I can't fault that. If I was in the shoes of a store owner, I would as well. But, you know, for a $10 buy-in, I mean, I covered his buy-in. And I did that because, you know, I was happy that someone wanted to come learn how to play the game. And I was just so excited to get somebody into the game. And with that, I think it just really comes down to putting your best foot forward when somebody new is in the group and making them feel as welcome as possible. Because not only will that get people to come back, and yeah, that's great for business, but it's good to have a place where you can kind of just go and sit down and bust out a couple games with friends, possibly win some cool prizes, and really just get to know other people in the area. You know, I was part of what started this Flesh and Blood group at Heroes Inc. 6 months ago, and, you know, since then we've grown to about 10 to 11 people, but at this point all of those people at first were strangers, and they became my friends, and they are very good friends. They're friends that support this channel. They're friends that play in the content that I put on this channel. I was nervous to even tell those friends that I made YouTube content, and they were the ones that stood up and said, well, why didn't you tell us? Why didn't you tell us? Like, we could have been filming games this entire time. This could have been awesome for our little community group. And I thought, and I just kind of shrugged and said, like, I don't know, I don't want to come off like I'm bragging. I just want to be as like humble as possible with it. And they were like, screw that. We're all in this together. Let's get the Pittsburgh Flesh and Blood scene's name out there, and let's build something together as a group. And I owe a lot of what I have on this channel now, and the amount of content I've been able to put out to those people. So like, some of them, they don't, they might not like being on camera. They might not like, this and that. They're fine with the gameplay being on camera. So I don't name drop, but they knew who they are. And I think what I'm trying to get out of this is that one person that messaged on Discord and said, hey, I want to learn how to play this game. Can somebody teach me? Turned into a new friend, and that's what this is about. That's what this game is about. Competitive play is a thing, and that's awesome. Casual play is also a thing, and that's awesome. And I'm so excited for PvE. I'm so excited for more opportunities to get in some like community building, casual games, making that content, supporting our local game stores and kind of just like building them up, between Green Tree and Heroes Inc. There is such a camaraderie between the two stores when it comes to supporting Flesh and Blood. Whenever there's a big event, we do our best to make sure nothing coincides with one another. We do our best to make sure we're not stepping on each other's toes. And, I go and play at Green Tree, and, John from Green Tree comes and plays at Heroes. It's all just this, like, cohesive community of players that love this game. They love the product. The game is great, and we just want to grow that. We want to grow that opportunity to beyond just a business standpoint, to kind of, have this, group that gets put on the map as like, oh, those are the Pittsburgh guys. Those are the guys and gals from Pittsburgh. That's the Pit Crew. And that's the goal here, is just, the goal and message of this video is that if you are, a bystander in your local group and you just kind of show up, bust out a couple games, leave, I don't think you're getting the most out of your experience. I'm not saying you have to be friends with everybody. I mean, I think that's pretty, that's common knowledge, right? As adults, that's common knowledge. But I think it bears more weight to kind of like shed all of that responsibility and all of that, like all of the stresses of day-to-day life, and check that at the door to be able to just enjoy a good game with friends. And the driving force behind that is our new guy. He walked into that shop that night, no cards in hand, wanting to just learn how to play the game. Got caught into entry on our armory, walked out with a playmat, and from all of the cards, the basics, like the commons and some of the rares, and even maybe a Majestic or two that we pulled out of the boxes from our prizing as a group of 10, a lot of that made its way back to this new player, Now, we can't do that all the time. If there's like a whole swarm of 5 to 10 new players, it doesn't help, but it's an entry point. It is a genuine entry point, just like the Blitz decks are, just like all of these things are. And coming off the heels of the Pro Tour, I feel like we're going to see this uptick. Going into an Uprising, we are going to see an uptick of new players. It happens every set. It happens all the time. And I think the community does a great job of welcoming those new players. Flesh and Blood has been the most welcoming TCG environment I have ever experienced. I've played Yu-Gi-Oh! Since I was 10 years old. I've played Magic since I was 18. And now at 25, I'm playing Flesh and Blood. Flesh and Blood is the most inclusive of all those groups. And that's not to say those other communities aren't inclusive, because they certainly can be, and they certainly are, at least in my local and personal experience. I live in a bubble. But what I'm trying to say here is, if you are at your local game store and you see a new person wanting to get into Flesh and Blood, if you feel comfortable doing it, be the one to stand up and say, hey, I'll teach you how to play the game. Hey, there's the Blitz decks there. Why don't you grab one of those? And, I can help you pick one out, and let's sit down and just play a couple matches. It doesn't need to be as extreme as, you know, giving a playmat to the new player, although that is an awesome gesture. And, you know, I'm so, you know, I can't have this community, and we can't have this local community without great people in it that do that sort of thing. And I think that's important to recognize. And, you know, just kind of an anecdotal story. I mean, you know, what else is on the plans for me this weekend? Tomorrow, I'm going with Jeff to a Pro Quest out of Mad Cards and Collectibles in Youngstown, Ohio. I know myself and a couple of the Pittsburgh crew are going out there, so we'll see how I do. But at the end of the day, I'm going out there just to, you know, play in an event, take a little bit of a road trip out that way, have some fun with some friends, and kind of just enjoy my time. As always, you know, I appreciate you guys listening to these videos and kind of engaging in the conversations over on Twitter. Excuse me. And I just wanted to thank you guys again. Really, support your local game stores, and they will support you. Support your local, you know, TCG communities. They will support you. It's all about never taking more than you can give, but always giving more than you take. I like that quote. We're going to end there. Have a great weekend, everybody. Sin out.